Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great Monday and you're ready to keep going on school. Week 1 is over and we're back for week 2, and this is our last section of this first chapter, and I think we are very quickly going to be ready to take a test. So, what you want to think about today is, what markets are you part of? And that is anything you partake in, including social media. Social media, you think of as free, but it's technically not. And we'll go into a little bit of that why later on, but just keep in mind you are part of all of these different markets. All the things you wear, do, those are all different markets that you are a part of. So let's get into this and our objectives here for this last section in Chapter 1, 1.3, how marketers use knowledge of the market to sell products. We're going to compare the consumer and organizational markets, the importance of target markets, and each component of the marketing mix and how they contribute to successful marketing. Nice is that we don't have to go into too much detail about the marketing mix. And also nice is that we've talked about some of these terms a little bit in class already, so you might feel a little bit more comfortable than you originally would if you had seen these for the first time. So the heart of the matter here, the market refers to all of the people who might buy a product, all of the people that are alike that might buy the same product. They're all part of the market. I think something along those lines might be a test question. The marketing mix is a combination of elements used to sell a product or service to a specific market itself, or a specific target market. What does that mean? That is how we use the 4 P's that we touched on last week in order to actually sell a product. Price, product, promotion, and place. Putting those together, the strategies we use, that's called the marketing mix. All right, here's your vocabulary, and we'll hit these as we go. Not too many. Should be a pretty good section. All right, market terms and the 4 P's of the marketing mix. I believe you have this to fill out, so I won't drain it right now, but kind of how I just said, the marketing mix is that product, price, promotion, and place. That makes up your marketing mix. And the market and how we look at it in this section, we're going to talk about market share, market segment, target markets, what a customer profile is briefly, and then we'll even address market potential. All right, first definition, the market, all people who share similar needs and wants, who have the ability to purchase a given product. That is the market. So currently, in their example, you might be part of the market for video games, but you're probably not part of the market for expensive cars. However, 10, 15 years, that might be inversed. Or you might be part of both markets. All right. Consumer versus organizational. So most of you right now that are just kids are we're all just kids. I think of myself as a kid too sometimes. Anyways, when we buy stuff and we consume it, we are part of the consumer who purchases goods and services for personal use. We're part of that consumer market. Anything we buy to eat, clothes we wear, so on and so forth. The flip side of that is the organizational market. And in brackets is B2B, that's business to business. Exactly what this is right here, business to business, that's B2B. And you'll hear that more and more, but obviously there are businesses that sell to other businesses. They're known as being part of the organizational market. So all of the companies that buy office supplies, that business-to-business transaction is the organizational market. The transactions or the purchasing that takes place before it goes to the end user, that's part of the organizational market. Walmart buying goods from other companies, that's part of the organizational market. That's the difference. All right. So market and market identification. And we're here to talk about market share. And this is a little old. So this whole pie right here represents all of the US smartphones market share. And the leader is Research in Motion. Excuse me. So Research in Motion is BlackBerry. And this was the breakdown of smartphones probably a decade ago. Why do I show you this? Because I can show you how it changes, and I will in a second. But you'll notice Apple has a smaller chunk of share. There's a company named Palm, which I don't believe they exist anymore. Motorola, I don't know if they make phones. Nokia still makes phones, but their market share has continued to decline. At one point in the cell phone market, Nokia was the big player. This is before smartphones, but everyone had a Nokia phone. And the nice thing about it, you could drop that thing over and over again and it would not break. That was probably the best thing about it. All right, so this is showing you each company's market share. So Research in Motion has 39% of the total market of cell phones at this time. So Q2 2017, sometimes this information is not that easy to get. And now we're looking at all of the phones in the world. And you can see here the largest provider of phones is Samsung, South Korean company, then Apple, and then Ch1, which is the Chinese company, which is currently in the news to be banned from the US for practices of being a Chinese government proxy to steal information, is the basic, quick 15 seconds of what's going on there. And these other companies, I honestly don't know off the top of my head. They are other international companies from different countries. And you can see Apple does not have as much penetration there. This might be because of the price of an Apple phone and the lifestyle or economic development of these countries. They might be selling a significantly cheaper phone. So this is how the market share has changed during this time frame. And we're also comparing, not the same if we go back. This is US smartphone market share, and this is global market share. So another way to look at this, we can look at what everyone's major carrier is Q1 2015 for what phones they're selling. So these are the four major players. If I asked you what type of market this is, you would say an oligopoly, right? Because there's a small number of players here. And here is the list of what phones they sell. Now, this tells a different story, right? This shows us that for every carrier, the largest phone sold, or the most often phone hooked up to one of their networks, is an Apple phone. And then we also have different players here that make phones. And this is specifically towards the US. You even have this little block here where AT&T, Verizon, just these two players sell a Microsoft phone. And that phone didn't last very long or do very well. But this data is just interesting because it allows us to make decisions on different levels. It allows us to make decisions as a marketer or even as an investor. We would be able to take this and say, hey, well, Apple's obviously doing good, and if you bought Apple in 2015 and had it right now, you would be one very happy camper with the amount of money that you made. So, moving on to market share, let's talk about market segmentation and target markets. All right, market segmentation and target markets. Segmenting the market is that process of taking our total business that we do in the market and making it smaller. We're going to cut it up into little groups. And maybe that's by age, maybe that's socioeconomic status, or various different demographics. And we'll talk about those in a second. But the nice thing about most business language is that the way it sounds and the way you want to think about it is 90% of the time going to be completely accurate. So market segmentation is how you segment the market. It is how you cut up the market into smaller groups. Target market. Everybody in here, I bet, knows what a target is. Something you try and hit, right? Well, what are we trying to hit with our product? What target of the market? So we're going to go through a process of segmenting the market into various groups. We're going to pick one of those said groups and try and target it with our promoting dollars, our product, all of those 4 P's that we talked about to make that segment of the market buy it. Give you a couple seconds to finish these up, and then we'll go. All right, details about markets. So, market share, again, is a company's percentage of total sales volume in a given market. And we talked thoroughly about the cell phone market. Segmentation is classifying customers by various characteristics. And consumer and organizational markets, going backwards to what we talked at the beginning of this lesson. Consumers purchases goods and services for personal use, and businesses buy products for use in their operations to function. Whether that is pens and pencils to keep business going, or that is actually the goods that they are then going to resell. So this is just a way of looking at this chapter and what we've gone over. If it's not on your sheet, you don't actually necessarily need to copy it. So I think we have one more thing to talk about. That is a customer profile. So we've segmented our market, we've now targeted it, and we're going to make a profile for who our customer is. And we're going to gather this information as we make sales. And companies try to do this all the time. They're looking to find out the information about who is buying their goods, so they have this data. Because data is empowering. It allows you to make decisions and create efficiencies and profit. So a company will try and gather information, and it may look as simple as this. What is their gender, income level, all of these things? What are their attitudes, their lifestyles? How is their behavior? What is their political affiliation? And that is a customer profile. It is that simple. All right, the 4 P's are part of the marketing mix, and we've talked about them a couple of times. So, and we'll talk about them at length in the future. But the basic marketing strategies called the 4 P's: product, place, price, and promotion. And your marketing mix is how you use them, or what parts of each one of those P's that you use. It's that simple, and I don't want to overdo it. So I believe this is the last section for this chapter of this 3rd section. And before I show you these, I want to go through and point out and guess all the forms of promotion you can think about, and we'll see how many we get. So I'm going to be silent for about 30 seconds. Ask the class, and I'll come back in about that time. All right, go. All right, so let's see how many of you guys guessed. Hopefully, you got some, if not all. These are some forms of promotion, and I think there are more. But this is a good start to the list, and we'll go into promotions a little bit later in class. So, not that critical. I'm going to stop there, and we'll carry on from that point, and I will have another lecture for you for chapter 2, but that's about it for this chapter. And we will go through some questions at a different time, and we'll talk about tests, and we'll be test prepping for the next couple days, or tomorrow, and then Thursday we'll be ready to go. On that note, thank you, and thanks for listening, paying attention, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.